Alrighty, well, good afternoon and welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Andrew Daphne. I'm the Instruction and Outreach Librarian at the New Jersey State Library, and it is my pleasure to present our instructor for today, Marcia Rudolph. She has been teaching a gentle form of yoga for the last 16 years and breath awareness for the last 25 years. And she is also affiliated with Capital Health and kind of runs their programming initiatives there. So kind of similar to what I do. And so we've had Marcia before, and we'd like to welcome her back. Before we jump into the yoga session today, just a few housekeeping items to go over. If you do have any questions about maybe the routine or strategies or suggestions about yoga, you can certainly submit them using the Q&A feature in the Zoom dashboard. And after the program, Marcia will answer them as best as she can, or if you want more information about yoga or maybe want to talk a little bit more to Marcia about the program, please feel free to email her at the email address on the screen there. She maybe can give you some tips, some pointers, or directions on classes that might be best for you. So for those of you who might be new to Zoom, this is what your dashboard should look like. If you're using a PC or a Mac, if you're using a mobile device, the dashboard is going to look just a little bit different, but the features will still be there. First and foremost, you have your audio section in the bottom left-hand corner there, so you can make sure that if anything happens to your audio, check there and see if you're connected to the right set of speakers. At any point, if you have a problem, you can hit your raise hand button. I will get in contact with you through Zoom and hopefully be able to help you with anything. And as I mentioned, there is a Q&A button that you can click. You can type in any questions you might have for Marcia. And after she's done the yoga routine, she will certainly stay around and answer any questions that you have. So without further ado, I will turn it over to Marcia.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Welcome everybody today to Yoga for Everybody. When I started to teach yoga, I felt it was really important to, at that time, especially, yoga was seen as kind of more of an exercise or a competitive. Everyone thought they needed to look like a pretzel, be able to twist like a pretzel. And so I really enjoy just teaching the more gentle yoga. A lot of people have injuries, or maybe they're have a few extra pounds on, or they're older. So I just like to have it accessible to all populations. So thank you for coming once again. And just a little bit about yoga. Yoga is really designed to bring in more wholeness. So unity of body, mind, and spirit. Not always easy, especially in our culture. We're very heavy on the thinking part. So we'll be practicing today to just increase sensation, awareness of sensation, awareness of breath. Really important, which I will continually kind of drive home, is just allowing the breath to come and go on its own, and to maybe move with the breath, but let the breath lead. And if there's at any point something doesn't feel good, maybe you have some knee or hip or back issues, we're going to be doing very gentle postures and movements, but please feel free to just rest or do some other stretches. That's fine. So usually, I have longer classes, so we'll have to condense a little bit today, but I'll try to get in a fair amount. And as Andrew said, I'm happy to stay around afterward if you have any questions for me. So, and you're welcome to, I always ask students if you have either a pillow or a block. We also use in my class what's called a Pranayama Pillow, which supports the spine once we come onto our backs. You could sit on that. Anything to elevate the hips. What happens a lot is, it's easy, I do it too, to slump. If you don't have something that's going to support the hips so that the legs can reach towards the floor, and yoga is very much about posture. So just helps us to align. And we're going to start with closed eyes. You can either do cross-legged. If you are more comfortable in a folding chair, you can do probably half the class from a folding chair today too. So that's perfectly fine. So we just close our eyes so that we can take a moment to come inside. And when we close the eyes, it just increases that internal sensing. Sensing of the body walls, sensing of the breath. And again, just letting the breath come and go on its own. I'm sorry, somehow I'm getting something come through here. And just a little body scan. So the feet and the legs can release towards the floor. The buttocks. And we have these two hard ischium bones that we sit on. So they're, if you rock a little side to side, sometimes it's easier to feel those, or you could pull the flesh out from your buttocks to the sides. And so we're just going to use those as kind of little ways to root and ground into the earth, or at least onto your prop for now. And then just relaxing the arms and hands and fingers. You can just rest those on your legs if that's comfortable, palms up or palms down. And then just bringing awareness to the spine. And just relaxing the low back and the sacral area. Middle of the back. Releasing the shoulders away from the ears. And relaxing the upper back. And really feeling the length in the back of the neck. So you can actually tuck your chin in a little bit. Just to feel that length. Crown of the head is lifted. And then just softening the belly. And relaxing the ribs. And opening the heart and the chest area. And just softening the throat. And you can really hold a lot of tension in our facial muscles. So just relaxing the jaw and the cheeks. And the lips and the tongue. And the eyes. And the forehead, skin. And then you may have already noticed that sensation of breath, moving the body walls as you inhale and as you exhale. And a good way to get more in touch with that, to grow breath awareness, is just to take one hand on the belly and one hand on the chest, the heart space. Shoulders relaxed, spine remains long. And just resting your hands in those two places. And allowing your breath to come and go. And you may even feel the breath movement coming into one or both of your hands. Just starting to be more aware of that sensation of breath, which can really be an anchor for the busy mind that most of us have. Another good way to get that is just to come on your back. Maybe I'll try to set aside some time today to do that, just to grow that breath awareness. We can try that today. And then just bringing the palms of the hands together and taking a few more nice, easy breaths here. Just letting the breath flow. And maybe you want to set an intention, or maybe a word, something soothing comes to you. Whatever may come to you right now, you can bring that into awareness and maybe dedicate it to your yoga practice today. It could be a word like peace, something you want to bring more into your life now. Light is a good one this time of year. And then you can slowly open your eyes. And just to start to warm up the body, we're just going to do a little bit of stretching. So listening to your own body and just seeing what is it now that needs to be stretched. Could be fingers. We have so many joints in the body and we want to keep them moving. Could be as small as moving the fingers and finger joints, or the wrists or ankles. Or maybe it feels good to stretch your back out. You can have the legs long. So whatever is calling now, just to bring a little more attention and release tension. And then when you're ready, we're going to just come back up to seated. You can come off of your prop now. And we're going to do a few warm-ups just to loosen up the spine and the hips, especially again this time of year. Sometimes people will get some arthritis, so it's nice to keep the joints moving, and we'll warm up so we can move a little bit more. So from here, same thing, we find those sits bones, and then we just start to circle around nice and gently around the hips. And if you want to include the breath, it's an inhale as we swing to the front of the body, and as an exhale as we come to the back, and like a circular movement. And then you can reverse directions. So we're just oiling those hip joints now, loosening them up. And then from there, you can either just hold on to your shins, or if you're able to go a little wider, it's a little bit more of a hip opener, you just take the right foot and you're going to press the heel against the left ankle. So both feet are kind of flat on the floor. It'd be a little bit hard to see. So either way is fine, either the shins, or you can just hold on to the front ankle. And once again, we always root those sits bones down so we have a good base. And we're going to do some spinal flexes. So it's an inhale as we arch and look up. Exhale as we round into the whole spine, head can come down. Inhale, arch, look up. Exhale, round, make sure your shoulders stay relaxed in your neck. And then on your own. So now you're going to follow your own breath rhythm, which is different for each one of us. It's also a great way to just move energy through the body and up through the spine. Maybe anything that's tense or feels a little stuck or tight. Good opportunity to let that go. And then we're just going to come back. And if you have a prop, you can place that under the hips. And we're going to do one more warm up here. So once again, sits bones, knees release away from the hips. And then let's just start with a nice, we're going to swing the arms up in a V. Sits bones down, spine long. You can look up if that's comfortable or forward, whatever your neck permits. Fingers are reaching nice and long. Maybe even feel energy moving through the arms and fingers. Breathing. Inhale, reach. Exhale, bend at the elbows. Palms are going to face each other. We're going to inhale to the left and then exhale to the right. So the gaze is going to follow the palms of the hands as we go from side to side. So you can do that for a little bit. I'm going to let you do that for a while. If it gets to be too much for your neck or shoulders, then you can just release. So maybe a little bit more. These are all from the Kundalini tradition, which works a lot with bringing energy up through the body. Again, releasing anything we don't need. And then you can bring that to a close. You can roll your shoulders a little bit. Yoga is a great stress reducer, especially if we have a practice every day. And of course, it's always challenging bringing that into our day. But we can, at least if we have a practice every day, it's a reminder to us to bring that feeling and sensation and breath into your day, however busy it may be. So from here, we're going to come into all fours. I'm going to move the spine a little bit more. So we're going to bring the hands so that they're right beneath the shoulders. We're going to bring the knees so they're right beneath the hips. The fingers are spread wide apart with the middle finger pointing straight ahead. And we're going to start first in what's called table pose. So just gazing down at the floor and breathing. Before we do anything else. And again, just giving yourself the time now to just allow the breath to come and to go naturally. Inhale, arch, lift the tailbone and look up. Exhale, round, pull the navel into the spine as the head comes down. And again, on your own. Inhaling, arching, exhaling, rounding, pull the navel in. And again, you're going to be following your own breath. So no need to follow me. Our breath rhythms are always different and they change all the time as well. And then from here, what we're going to do is just come back into a child pose. So you can either have the knees together or you can have the knees apart. And you're just going to bring the buttocks back towards the heels. You could put a pillow beneath the buttocks, between the buttocks and the heels, if you need a little bit more support for your back. Or if you have blocks, you could use one or even two to rest the forehead. And the arms can come overhead, or if the knees are together, sometimes it's nice to curl up with the palms up and the arms behind you. And we're just going to rest the spine here. And child pose can be a wonderful restorative posture, so it's nice to do before we go to sleep at night. Or anytime we have some time to just bring the mind to rest. You may even feel the movement of the breath over the back body. And then when you're ready, you can come back to all fours. You're just gonna take your feet now between the hands, and we're gonna hang in ragdoll as we start to work up. So the knees are soft, the head can just kind of hang. You can shake the head yes, and you can shake the head no. And with the knees soft, it just takes pressure off of the low back area. And then whenever you're ready, we're going to bring the hands onto the hip points. We're going to press into the balls of the feet, and we're going to slowly come up to standing. So take your time. And before we do any more in standing, we'll be doing several yoga postures here. We just want to feel the soles of the feet. So the feet connect us to the earth. Our legs, we often forget them, or we're sitting all day and we're not paying attention. But even just simply sensing the soles of the feet can really help to quiet the mind. The mind's always going up here, and the feet just kind of connect us and ground us to the earth. So you can walk them, you can do anything that will bring more sensation awareness there. Sometimes people like to move the toes or the ankles. I'm going to do what's called sun breath. Nice and easy. Inhale up, lift up if that's comfortable. Exhale, arms, hands back to the sides. On your own, inhale up. Open the rib cage. Exhale. And again, now you're going to follow your own breath rhythm. So we should all be a little different. So just letting that breath lead the stretch. Maybe a few more. Good, and you can bring that to a nice close. Always helpful to move joints at any time. So in between stretches, you can move a little bit. And then from here, we're just going to keep the feet so that they're hip width apart, just checking that they're parallel to one another. A good way to tell whether they're hip width is taking the two fists, and we just kind of bring the hands together, and we bring the hands between the feet, and they would kind of sit in the insteps of the feet. So if you're not quite sure what hip width is, sometimes we think our hips are out here, and they're not. And then from here, same thing, we're going to just work a little on body awareness. So feeling the soles of the feet, feeling the legs, the torso, crown of the head is lifted. Arms, hands, and fingers are by our sides. And we're just gazing straight ahead and staying with the breath. Maybe fixing the eyes on one spot, and try palms open. And if you change hand positions, just noticing how each feels. You could do palms together. overhead. You do arms overhead, you're just reaching for the fingers and then growing down into the earth through the soles of the feet and feeling breath movement throughout the body. Inhale, stretch. Exhale. Arms and hands down. And again, you can do a little bit of movement in the joints. We're going to transition to some side poses. So we're going to come to the side. And these are kind of wide-legged poses. So we want to have the feet maybe 2, 3, 4 feet apart from one another. Good time to take socks off, actually, if you have them on. We're late into fall. Probably you're wearing socks, but it's good for these so that you don't slip, to just kind of have those off. So the feet are, again, 2, 3, 4 feet apart and they're parallel to one another. We're going to bring the hands on the hip points. We're going to gaze straight ahead. And once again, just really bringing awareness to the soles of the feet. So feeling the 4 corners of the feet. And then we're going to inhale the arms straight out in a line, shoulders are relaxed, fingers are reaching nice and long in both directions. Spine is long, crown is lifted, and just staying here with the breath. Letting the breath come and go. And then hands back to the hip points. And let's see if we're given on time here. I think we'll have time to try a warrior 2 today. So we're going to come back to the feet being parallel. So the same position we just had. Hands are on the hip points. And then if you're going in the same direction as me, we just take your left foot, you're going to kind of point it straight to either your front or back wall, whichever you call that in your room. You're going to turn the right foot in a little bit. And you're going to line up the left heel to the left instep or to the left heel. Torsos to the side. So just kind of swing those hip points. They may not come, don't push them, so they may not come all the way to the side, but just heading in that direction. Hands on the hips, inhale, and then on your exhale, if you have knee issues and this is too much, please back off. You could do the prior pose, that's perfectly fine. And you're going to take your left knee and you're going to bring it now so it's in the direction of your little toes. And check that that left foot is nice and straight. And just pressing into the outside of the right foot so that you activate the back leg as well. And then when you're ready, you're going to inhale the arms straight out in a line. Shoulders are relaxed. And you can just gaze in the same direction your torso is now. Maybe you can feel the breath come in over the rib cage. And then we're going to look towards the left fingers if that's comfortable, stretching the arms nice and long, staying with the breath. And then hands on the hips, left foot turns around, and take a moment to move ankles, knees before we do the opposite side. So you can flip around. And same thing, so feet are parallel, 2, 3, 4 feet apart, hands are on the hip points. And inhale, exhale, we're going to bring the right foot towards the front, or back if you're in, whichever it is. We're going to turn the left foot in a little bit. And this time we have the right heel in line, either with the left instep or the left heel. You bring the hip points back so that they're to the side. Inhale, exhale, bring the right knee now towards the little toes. And at the same time, you're going to press into the back of the left foot so you feel both legs. Right knee towards your little toes. And then inhale, sweep the arms up. Again, if you can just gaze in the same direction first as the torso is facing. That way you can really get more awareness of the sides and the breath coming in over the sides of the body. And then if you like, you can look over your right fingers now. Stay with the breath. And then hands on the hips, right foot round. Once again, you can shake things out. If you have blocks, you can use them now. If you continue a yoga practice, I would really recommend them. They're relatively inexpensive. You can use them to sit. You can use them for restorative poses. And we're going to use them now for forbend if you have them. It's not mandatory or required or to do this. You can really just use the floor as well. But we're going to do a wide-legged forward bend. So the blocks have 3 heights. And you can see which height. You might change the height once you come into the posture. So the forward bends are wonderful for stress reduction. So we like to do those during the class. And feet are, once again, parallel, 2, 3, 4 feet apart from one another. Inhale, swing the arms up. You can look up if that feels good. And then exhale, nice swan dive to the blocks or the floor. Just a couple precautions. If you have unmedicated high blood pressure, heart disease, or any serious eye issues, you want to keep the head level with the heart or above. So you don't want to have the head below the heart. So just keep that in mind. If you have any of those, you can have the forward bend just be like this. If that is not an issue, then you can let the head hang. And the knees are soft. And just taking this opportunity now to really let go of the thoughts, so the mind can be more peaceful and still. Staying with the breath. And then you can use the blocks or the floor to slowly come back down onto the floor. And then from here, we're just going to come into another child pose. So you can either, once again, have the knees together or apart. You can have the arms overhead or by the sides, palms up. And you can use any props that you need for a little extra support. And we're just going to bring awareness now to the spine and the back body. And the eyes can be closed. Just another one that's not only great to release any holding in the hips and the low back area, but also just to really quiet the mind. And then from here, we're going to take our time. If you have a blanket, it's nice to place it underneath the hips. I'm on carpet today, so I'm good, but normally if I was on a hard floor, I would place a blanket beneath my pelvis. So we're coming belly down. Take your time. And first thing we're going to do, chin or forehead to the ground. We're going to just stretch the arms overhead along the floor or your mat. And we're going to stretch the legs back. You can even kind of roll the thighs a little side to side to just stretch them nice and long out of the hip joints. Inhale, one good stretch, nice and long. And then exhale, we're going to walk the forearms and the hands back towards the body in a nice gentle back bend. So the elbows are going to sit right beneath the shoulders. And the pelvis is well supported by the floor. Hands are resting. And we're just going to gaze forward just a little bit. So you don't want to kind of bring the head back. You want to just kind of look at the floor and a little bit forward, just to keep that nice curve in the cervical spine. Legs are long. Tops of the feet are in touch with the ground. And we're just going to breathe. This is a really nice, gentle back bend. Strengthen the muscles of the low back. And back bends also are great to just lift the mood and increase our energy. And if you want to do a little core work, you can even do a little more and just kind of tuck the navel into the spine. Breathe. And then from here, we're just going to bring a cheek down on the mat and we're going to lift the feet in the air. We're going to just do some windshield wipers back and forth just to loosen up any folding in the low back, hip area. And then from here, just going to kind of press back as if we're doing a child pose. We're just giving the spine now a nice stretch. Releasing any holding in the low back. And we'll be doing more for the low back in a moment. If you took socks off and your feet are cold, good time to put them back on as we start to transition to our yoga postures on our back. And first thing we're going to do here is just make sure your spine is long on the floor. And you're going to just hug the knees into the chest. If you want, you can rock a little side to side. This is great, especially after any kind of exercise that you do. Also, anything that we do on our backs can also be very grounding. It's more of a receptive posture. And then you can take the sole of your left foot and just place it on the ground. The left knee is facing the ceiling. The left heel is in line with the left hip. And we're just interlacing the fingers and bringing the right knee back towards the chest, either resting the hands on the shins, or you can come behind the knee if that's easier. So this, again, this is a really good release for the low back area. If you want a little more stretch, you just lengthen that left leg on the ground. If it's too much for your low back, stay with the bent leg. And we're just going to flex the left foot and relax the right. Always breathing, letting the breath flow. And then bringing the sole of the right foot down on the ground, right heel in line with the right hip, right knee faces the ceiling. And then either interlace the fingers and rest them on the left shin as we bring the left knee back, or you can just bring the hands behind the knee and a knee to chest on the opposite side. Again, right heel in line with the right hip and right knee faces the ceiling. Stay with the breath. And then if you want more stretch, you can lengthen your right leg on the ground and just flex the foot. And from here, we can just hug both knees in. And we can just bring them on the floor. So like I said, I was going to just show you another good way to get breath awareness. Since we're now on our backs, we would kind of sit up the same way. So the heels are in line with the hips, the legs are bent, the knees are facing the ceiling. And really just kind of scooch your spine so it's nice and long on the floor. Not sure if you can see me. So basically it's the same position we were just in before we did the chest. And then we're just going to take the hands and you can place both over the belly area. However that's comfortable for you, one kind of above the other or one on each side. And without any expectations, you're just going to feel the back body in touch with the floor. And just releasing into the floor, relaxing the head. And just sensing now the two hands on the belly. Nothing more to do, but just bringing awareness to the two hands. And with that, you may feel the breath rise on the inhale and come into the hands, and on the exhale, it releases back down. Another good thing to do before you go to sleep at night, or anytime you just feel you need to come into a more peaceful place. Maybe you've had a crazy day. It's a wonderful way to just quiet the mind. And then gently from there, just kind of turn to the side. I was hoping you could see a little bit better. But from here, we're just gonna, same thing, we're on our backs and we're just gonna hug the knees into the chest. You're welcome to roll a little side to side with that. And then we're just gonna bring the arms out in a T at shoulder height. The palms are up facing the ceiling. And our spine and our head are well supported, shoulders relaxed. Inhale, center. Exhale, we're going to drop the knees and legs to the right. And you can either gaze up or over now at the left hand, the opposite hand. And breath awareness, maybe you feel that opening now on the left side of the body, over the rib cage. So this is great to increase spine flexibility. It's also wonderful for the nervous system. Excuse me. Calms the nervous system. And then inhale, bring the knees in. And exhale, we're going to drop them over to the left side. And again, you can also use like a prop between the knees or under the bottom leg if it's too much of a stretch without it. And once again, just melting the shoulders. Gaze is up or over at the opposite hand. And this time feeling that opening now on the right side. And you feel the breath come in on the inhalation and come back inside on the exhalation. And we're just going to have the knees. And again, you can do a little rocking here. And see if I have time to show you a couple of restoratives. Not too much. So I think I'm going to squeeze this in a little bit right now, and then we can do a little bit shorter Shavasana for final relaxation. So I just want to show you, if you have two blocks, you have one at a higher height and one at the next size down. You could also do like this and then the lower one. So, and you're just going to put them, I'm going to kind of have my back to you now. Just going to take that lower one, comes between the shoulder blades and so you could try this at home. It's called the supported fish pose. So the higher one comes under the back of the head, and the arms are just down by your sides, and the palms are facing the ceiling. And it's a very receptive pose. It's a wonderful one to lift the mood and just to bring in more light. It opens and expands the whole heart space. And it's wonderful for the immune system because it stimulates the thymus gland, which is helpful for us, especially these days. So just wanted to encourage you, you could kind of Google that to look it up. It's a supported fish pose with blocks. So that's a nice one. And this is one we also usually do every week in my class. So you'd probably have to purchase a pranayama pillow, although you could use other props. It's a supine bound angle pose. So you could look that up. More traditionally, they use a big bolster and they put maybe blocks under here and your spine's more elevated like this. What we do in class is we use a pranayama pillow, which pranayama is the breath, working with the breath. So we take that and we have it against our sacral area vertically. And then we just bring the soles of the feet together, and you can use two blocks or pillows to just support the knees as they fall away from the body. And both of these you could do for several minutes. This one you could really work up to 10 minutes. Again, you could try it this way. But another one that just opens up the whole front of the body. It's very good for anxiety and depression. It's also a hip opener. So I just wanted to show you that. Again, you could Google supine bound angle, or you could write me and I can try to explain it to you. Oops. And the other one was a supported fish pose. So from here, we're just going to come onto our backs fully. And you can start with the feet, soles of the feet on the floor. You can also just stay like this where the knees are facing the ceiling, how we set up for knee to chest. We're just going to bring the arms down by the sides. And then only if your low back says it's okay, you're gonna just lengthen the legs along the ground. Usually we do Shavasana or final relaxation for a little longer than we're gonna do today. So again, you can take this home with you and spend some time. It's just a great way to integrate the whole more physical practice at the end. And the options with the arms are either to have palms up, arms by the side, or you can have your hands resting on your belly and just stay with your breath. And we're just feeling the whole back body now, really feeling supported by the floor. Releasing any last bit of tension in the body. Wonderful time to just practice some conscious breathing. Just bring focus to the breath. Again, the breath is a wonderful tool. Anytime the mind is feeling a little overwhelmed, just knowing that it's something that you can always come to, just to bring in more peace. And just relaxing the front of the body and all the facial muscles, the jaw, cheeks, the lips, the tongue, the eyes. Another chance to be receptive, listening. And again, we should spend more time, but I want to leave a little time for questions and answers today. So from here, we can just kind of move the feet and the ankles, maybe stretch out the legs, the hands, arms behind us. Good stretch. You can bring the knees in, rock. And then we're going to roll over to our right side. And just gently take your time now, slowly come up. You don't even have to open your eyes yet. Again, I would encourage you to look up those restorative poses. They're really nice to do if you can every day. And Shavasana, just final relaxation, to spend a little more time with that. Again, if you have a prop or a pillow, you can come back up onto it now. And we're just going to bring the hands in prayer pose. So hands are in the heart space, palms together. Once again, just tuning in and sensing the breath in the body, relaxing the legs, feeling the spine nice and long, and just staying here with the breath for a moment or two. And I just want to end with a nice short reading. Peace. Peace, it does not mean to be in a place where there is no noise, trouble, or hard work. It means to be in the midst of those things and still be calm in your heart. So the big challenge for most of us, hopefully you got a little bit more in touch today with that sense of peace. It's another wonderful tool to just help support us as we go through life and all its ups and downs. And with that, I just want to thank you for coming today. And I always end by saying namaste, which means the light in me honors the light in each one of you. So thank you once again. And we have a few minutes for questions if you have them.
Thank you so much, Marcia.
Thank you.
Hopefully everybody feels a little bit better, able to kind of reset and refocus in the middle of the workday. So if you have questions, please feel free to send them, and Marshall will certainly be happy to answer them. One person commented that they're standing at work while trying to do this, and so
Okay.
maybe if you could talk about maybe some ways to modify different yoga stretches or poses for maybe standing or sitting if somebody can't be on the floor or something like that.
So for standing, we could do this. The sun breath is really nice. You could do that from seated and standing. So that's a nice stretch. You can do mountain pose, which was the one where we just either reached up or we had our hands in different hand positions standing. You can also do something if you want to just kind of stretch the spine where you have the feet once again hip width parallel, the arms overhead. You can interlace the fingers if that's comfortable, or actually you could even just hold on to the elbows like that, and then you can just kind of press a little bit to one side, just gently, don't overdo it, and then to the other side. There's actually so much we could do. You could do things with the neck, little neck rotations. You can kind of look that up, are nice in seated or standing. I hope that helped a little bit. If not, get more specific. I'm happy to try to answer.
I don't really see any other questions, so as I mentioned, I'm going to give everybody here Marcia's contact information. I'll just put it in the chat. So in case you wanted to reach out for some more advice or maybe classes or other things, please feel free to do that. So would you like to close with anything, Marcia?
No, just once again, thank you, everyone. I hope that was helpful. It gave you some tidbits. Of course, I never know at what level people are just coming in or not, or if they've been practicing for a while, but just a reminder to be able to come into that quiet part of yourself so we can give ourselves that inner support and self-care that we all need. And that's really it.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Marcia. Thank you, everybody, for attending today. And hopefully we can see everybody soon. So take care and be well.
Thank you, Andrew.